Today, I turned 27, and in the past year, I've probably made more art than I have in any other previous year of my life. Last year, I put out an entire album. This year, since January, I put out 7 tracks, about 20 more minutes worth of music. Since I turned 25, I've really wanted to double down and commit to all of the things that I've always felt that my life was supposed to be about, and that me creatively, as an artist, wanted my life to be about, whether that was spoken out loud or just to me in my own mind and stuff I wanted to accomplish or put out into the world. When I release something, I feel like that's when I kind of let go of it and it becomes not mine anymore. It's for you or anyone listening to interpret how they will. Despite working on commercials and advertisements for the past almost 10 years of my life, I don't find that I'm good at nor have a real strong inclination to promote and advertise my own work. And in order to combat that, this video is intended to be almost like a year in review of all of the stuff that I've put out. And hopefully, if you miss something, you can watch this, see everything that I've done this year, and go check out some of the things that I've made. To start, I released Love Songs for Bad Bitches with Face Tattoos, and I shot a promotional trailer for that with my friend Sudana. Sudana also has the same birthday as me. Happy birthday, Sudana. I had just finished making the entire album and was kind of going through the process of mastering it myself, and knew that I wanted to shoot some kind of promotional trailer for it, and really just had one shot in my mind, which was going to be a girl walking on the beach and doing this slow tracking shot that ends kind of with her looking over her shoulder and seeing a face tattoo on like her cheek or something. And when I met Sudana, I was like, oh, you're this person that I've imagined for this trailer. And so I reached out to her after the gig, and luckily she wanted to go make something with me. So we went down to the beach for a couple hours one morning and shot this little promo trailer, but shot on a C70 and a Ronin that I got to borrow from my good friends Mario and Vince, who run Aperture Media. Took that home, edited it. No matter how long I've been an editor for, I will never be able to say edited it on the first try. It's the worst. On top of producing, mixing, and mastering the album myself, I truly think it's some of the best images I've ever produced, and I'm really proud of it. It took me almost 3 years to create my first album, and a year all said and done to create the second. And I didn't like that I didn't feel good about all of that, or at least how much anxiety it gave me on the day of release. If the first album was a 10 of nervousness, the second album was a 5. I think I built this theory in my head that if I started releasing stuff more regularly, I could also numb myself to that nervous feeling that I just didn't like. So for 6 months after releasing Love Songs, I started building up a catalog of songs and ideas that were anywhere from half finished to fully finished and fleshed out. Going into January, me and Steven shot the music video for the first song of 2023, Sturdy. I reached out to Steve with the song, knowing that Sturdy was going to be the first song I released in 2023, and didn't have any concept for the video. And then I reached out to Mario and Vince again because they had just gotten a studio and had a somewhat reasonably sized warehouse space where we could potentially shoot something. But I told Steve, let's just go down there, see what we can come up with. When we looked around, there's a couple pallets of floorboards and junk and a Peloton. Steve and I both looked at the Peloton and realized, oh, the music video is like a 80s workout video, kind of weird aesthetic. I went shopping with my friend Sarah, pick out some clothes and an outfit to wear for this video, knowing that we wanted to kind of trick the viewer into thinking this was a serious rap video at first, just in the same way the song starts off feeling very serious and then quickly becomes a little bit more parody and a little bit more jokey and undercuts itself in tone. The morning of the shoot, I started to get really, really nervous. Pit of my stomach, what the fuck am I doing? What is this idea? Does this even make sense? Is this funny? Do I think this is good? And talking to Sarah about it when we were picking out outfits and stuff for it, she kind of reassured me, you'll put on the outfit and it'll just become like the character, you know? You'll just kind of lose yourself in that. And truly it feels like that's what happened. The second I got there and me and Steven were talking about lighting and what the first shot was going to be, Sarah's helping, get the outfit, crop top ready. It just became so obvious that it was everything I wanted to be doing, making videos that I find entertaining with the people I love. We wrapped up pretty late that day and we were all pretty tired, so we left all the equipment in the studio, lights, camera, all that shit, with the intention of getting it the next day or the day after. I told Steve when we were gonna go get all that gear, let's just get one shot before we clean up the gear and the lights. I'll turn that into the next promo video. Sarah had some fake blood at her house because, we go to the warehouse. Steve puts fake blood on my face. We get the shot. While we're sitting there, it was like, well, let's get a couple more shots. We have the light set up. We have the camera. Why not? Let's just see, get some extra stuff. Maybe I can cut around some other shit. I took all that footage home, started cutting this little promo together. And once I had a rough cut of it, started doing the CGI diamond effects. And it ended up being kind of this weird mix of CG and just using AI to generate an image of myself that had a big diamond on my forehead. I generated probably like 100+ images of myself with diamonds on my forehead, picked the best ones, cut all of them out, and then put them in each for one single frame, and got the final effect with some other, post effects lighting stuff. It is obviously CGI, but I think the effect itself is so convincing. It's so hypnotic and beautiful and strange, and unlike anything I've seen anyone else do. And from concept to basic execution was made in like 15 minutes. After releasing Candy Skull, I had another song called Pardon My French. Originally intended to be released March 1st. I kind of realized Valentine's Day was coming up. It's kind of a love song, so it made more sense to me to release it on Valentine's Day. And about 3 weeks before Valentine's Day, I was hanging out with my friend Andrew Arcadi, who's a great guitar player. He said if I ever have a track that I think he might be good on, to send it to him. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted him to do on Pardon My French, but I thought this could be a cool vibe, and if he doesn't have the time to work on it, that I'm still happy with the state it's in, and I'll release it anyways. But if he does, and he can get it back to me, by all means, take it away, get creative. 2 days later, he sends me a track that has so many guitars. They're all great ideas, super beautiful, so cool, just really incredible. He sent me the stems, and then I spent 4 or 5 days just trying to learn how to mix guitars, like real guitars for the first time. It's now like the best part of the song. I made the cover art and got it ready for release. What did I make in March? Oh yeah, March. Then March was coming up really fast, and I kind of didn't really anticipate getting 2 weeks off. My next release date by releasing Pardon My French early would make it kind of a bit of a panicked rush to release something on March 1st. While I had a huge back catalog of songs, there was also a lot of ideas that I was kind of getting bored of and were feeling stale to me, so I wanted to just start creating something new. I had an idea that had been half-baked for a while, and I sat down with it, and instead of recording more verse to it, I just decided, let's just do a big beat switch in the middle and do something entirely different, and that's how I ended up with OJ, It's Like That. Another really fun track I think is so cool, and really just has a different kind of energy, both halves. That track as well, I was looking into making the album art for. At first was going to draw something like, had this loose concept for like a box of orange juice with the label OJ, It's Like That on it. When I started trying to draw up images for it, I just realized I didn't have enough time to like reach out to another artist or someone who could illustrate better than I could in as little time. I didn't have any money to toss at it. So I just decided at that point that I would look to AI to try and generate something that was at least a baseline level of reasonably good, and ended up generating a bunch of images of like 50s kids ads with orange juice, like just the weirdest selection of images you've ever seen, truly. And that one that is the cover originally was like a blonde-haired kid with brown eyes, and the juice box had 2 straws, and of course the hands are fucked up because we're like another 3 weeks away from AI actually being able to generate the proper number of fingers on a fucking hand. It was at least close enough as a baseline where I could touch up the whole image, making something that looked reasonably like me. And I had also just started doing the eyebrow slash thing, so I figured I would put it on him, kind of a little homage to I think the Carter 3 with Lil Wayne, where it's his baby photo, but he has all of his face tattoos. Obviously I have no face tattoos, but close enough. You get the idea. Going into April, I knew that I wanted to release a song for 420 called Light It Up. I had this song for a good 8 or 9 months. February was hard enough, releasing 3 songs in the span of 4 weeks. So going into April, I just decided, instead of releasing it on 420 and a different song on April 1st, to just release Light It Up on April 1st and then re-promote it on 420. Maybe that's a little bit stoner lazy of me, but here we are. It's way too much work to make and release all of this shit myself with no budget. I just finished the second half of the song and the beat switch and played it for Zach, and he instantly started singing and kind of humming out some melodies that I was just like, oh, that sounds great. Like, I need that. Yeah, give me that. And so he sat down and recorded the next day or something, just a couple little melody ideas that are now like the front main center vocal, while my vocals all become these like hazy, reverb, washy backgrounds to just kind of soak in this particular vibe. And after finishing that up, needed some cover art for it, and remembered that I had shot some photos with my friend Zach where I looked like the Unabomber. I had not shaved in a year. I could not have looked more homeless, but we had all of these really weird photos of me out in a field with a match, and or like a box of matches. Found one that was just the match, no weird facial hair or like weird pose, and then just cropped around the match itself and rotated it to make it feel a little bit more like a match being kind of blown by the wind or something. Luckily as well, he liked the crop and image that I decided on for the album art, and let me use his photo for that. So thank you to Zach. As always, you have helped me make so much music and so much art, and I could not do it all without you. Coming into May, I knew it was my birthday month. We're also going into summer. I know Bottle Rock's coming up, and I wanted to release some music that would be a little bit more summery, light, fun, something dancey. I've been listening to so much of Coi Leray, kind of this more mix of like hip hop, Jersey club, kind of house vibe that's kind of been going on lately, and I just wanted to try my hand at it. I had started recording and kind of ended up with this weird sleepy R&B track, and it was just not the energy I needed and wanted to create, but I still liked what it was doing, and went with the old classic, just a straight up beat switch, and ended up with Love Her, which is now another song that I'm just immensely proud of, and I think captures a totally unique vibe from any other song I've made, and is easily the most maybe approachable, listenable song that has the least amount of direct swearing and cussing that, hopefully my mom can show to her friends and they won't be like clutching their pearls. Making the cover art for Love Her was kind of interesting. I knew that I had this club dancey vibe, and a couple years ago I was hired to shoot an EDM event in New York, and so I had a ton of images from that night that I have no idea if they were ever used for the actual promotion of more events or anything, but there was a ton of images that were sitting in my Dropbox that I just started going through until I found this one club image that I thought was really cool, of this group of girls dancing. I had no idea who they were and didn't want to have to go through the trouble of going all the way back to seeing who was in that photo and if I had ever reached out to them on Instagram. So instead, we just went with a nice pixelated blur. I thought that would be better than like a black bar or something. The pixelated blur has this kind of weird aesthetic on a black and white photo that I don't think I've ever really seen before, and I thought was a weird choice, but the more I look at that image, it's now like my desktop wallpaper. I think it's so cool looking and strange, and just very different. All of that leads us to 27, which is a track that I made last week. For the past 6 months, I knew that in turning 27, I wanted to make something that had some kind of loose relation to this idea of the 27 Club and a more abstract kind of writing style compared to at least the way I normally write. There's lots of analogies or metaphors or double entendres in the stuff that I normally write, but I think a lot of it is also very literal. It's easier to be taken at face value and understand what I'm saying. Having made this beat while traveling a week or two before on the plane, and this beat kind of had something. I didn't really know what it was, and it was a little muddy and strange. And while I was working on just filling out that sound more, Zach had walked into the studio and asked me what I was working on. So I played it for him, and he kind of looked at me like, well, that is something. And I was like, yeah, I think it could be, but I don't know what yet. I sat for maybe another hour or two and just started writing. My inflection is like weird and nasally in the second half, and it kind of has this Beastie Boys thing going on, and it's all just distorted vocals and delays. It's really crazy and full sounding, but I wanted the beat and the energy of the instrumental to match that, and kind of ended up with this siren thing and drop and huge drum fill towards the end that is really, I think, one of my favorite moments I've made in a song. That is just, I don't know, very special to me. I finished up the song in basically one more day. This is not how I thought I would spend today, but I have thought about and think constantly to the future of my life and what I want that to look like. And the way I have imagined today, literally, and decided that instead of releasing it on June 1st, it would be really fun to release a song on my 27th birthday today, and have that song start by saying, I turned 27 again. Zach shoots everything on film, and we did this shoot a year or two ago that was down the street from my house in the middle of the night, and we were just under a single street lamp. There was one of me looking towards kind of this crossroads. I took that image, threw it in Photoshop, cropped it to a square, and then realized that I needed to shift some stuff around to make it fit this square crop. I don't know, it gives me such a weird feeling, this image, but I really, really like it, and I think it matches the song so well. And that leads us to today, me making this video. This is all I like doing and all I want to do with my life, and it would mean the world to me if you went and listened to some of my music. There's going to be at least 6 more songs this year coming out, and hopefully many more in the coming years. And I imagine I'll be doing another video like this when I turn 28 to talk about whatever I made this year. It is actually my birthday today, May 23rd. And if you'd like to give me a present, share my music with someone you think might appreciate it. Have a good one.